From the Newstalk ZB newsroom, this is Newsfix.
In this update, people at the top of the North Island can expect something from the sky as Christmas lunch approaches. There is a severe thunderstorm watch in place from Taupō to Northland. It kicks in at 1 and lasts until 10 tonight. There's also a heavy rain watch in place till 6 tomorrow morning, Boxing Day. Met Service meteorologist Matapelo Makabutlane says it could mean rainfall rates of 25 to 40 mils per hour.
If they do reach that severe category and they bring with them that risk of intense downpours, there is always that risk of possible flash flooding.
Firefighters are continuing to dampen a vegetation fire on Matakana Island near Tauranga. The blaze was contained last night after burning through 37 hectares of pine and slash since it began on Saturday. Emily Ansell has more.
Incident controller Jeff Maunda says 3 helicopters with monsoon buckets are supporting 30 firefighters and an excavator today as they work on weak spots. They're also making dangerous trees safe as they push the fire away from containment lines. Maunda says tonight they'll use drones with infrared equipment to identify hotspots to be targeted tomorrow.
Christmas Eve has brought flesh, bloodshed and an intensification of fighting across the length of the Gaza Strip. Palestinian officials say at least 70 people have been killed in an Israeli airstrike on central Gaza. And in Bethlehem, clergy have cancelled traditional Christmas celebrations for the first time in memory. Nelson Airport's operating again after a security scare led to a brief evacuation. A spokesperson says the airport received another concerning email this morning, similar to one received earlier in the month. Normal airport operations have now resumed. The weather's also causing headaches for some travellers, with an Auckland to New Plymouth flight cancelled. Travellers were asked to go home or use an airline bus instead. Yesterday also saw weather-related disruption for multiple flights around the country. Spare a thought for our Defence Force personnel thousands of kilometres from their loved ones this Christmas. Staff Sergeant Carl Seymour is working as part of peacekeeping efforts in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. He says he'll be in touch with home, but it's tough being away from the family.
I mean, I've got 2 young ones under 3, so I really do miss my kids. I wish watching them grow and sort of like being there for the early milestones. It's made easier through social media, but it's definitely not the same.
Seymour will spend Christmas Day socialising with colleagues from other countries and likely arguing with the Aussies about who invented the pavlova. More of us are opting for lamb over ham for today's Christmas lunch. The Retail Meat New Zealand annual Christmas survey reveals more than a third prefer lamb, just ahead of ham. Pavlova takes the cake as the choice of dessert, with a whopping 70% of respondents choosing that over trifle, fruit salad or strawberries and ice cream. As for sides, just over 90% will prep potatoes. More than half will have kumara. Beef and Lamb's Katie Ward says people have also been asked how they plan to spend the day.
A lot of people saying that opening presents is the biggest tradition, of course, as well as the feast.
Success at the X Games is at the top of the Christmas wish list for snowboarder Zoe Sadowski-Sinnott in 2024. The 22-year-old has 9 medals to her name in the competition's history, including a gold and silver at this year's event in Aspen. She's determined to add to that tally.
I mean, I would love to defend my gold at X Games in Sochville this year, so I'm definitely looking forward to that.
After a decade without winning the Premier League, Manchester United has agreed to sell a minority stake to a boyhood fan who's since become a billionaire. Jim Ratcliffe will also take control of its football operations. Fans have been increasingly frustrated with the poor performances under United's American owners, the Glazer family. Ratcliffe has secured a stake of up to 25% and will invest the equivalent of almost $500 million into Man U's Old Trafford Stadium. One of the most famous sporting events in Australia gets underway tomorrow, and we're not talking about the Boxing Day cricket test. The 78th edition of the respected